Tyler Robinson has been charged with aggravated murder and other related felony offenses arising from the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk during a public event at Utah Valley University in September 2025. Robinson has entered a plea of not guilty. This is a preliminary hearing. The court is not deciding whether the defendant is guilty or innocent. Instead, the judge must determine whether prosecutors have presented sufficient evidence to establish probable cause for the case to proceed to trial. Over the course of this hearing, the prosecution is expected to call investigators, law enforcement officers, forensic specialists, and other witnesses while introducing physical, digital, and scientific evidence gathered during the investigation. The defense will have the opportunity to challenge that evidence through cross-examination and legal argument, but is not required to present its own witnesses at this stage. At the conclusion of the hearing, the judge will decide whether the charges should be bound over for trial. If so, the case will continue through additional pretrial proceedings before eventually reaching a jury.
All right, Agent, I'm not going to go through every single message, but I do want to have you read aloud certain portions of them. And I apologize to counsel, these are not actually given a page number. I have page numbers, but I'm happy to confer that we're on the same page as we go. So here we're looking at page 1 of State's Exhibit 16.1. If you could read a little more than halfway down where it begins Wednesday, 11 p.m., will you start reading underneath that?
Yes. So this would have been from Tyler. It says, drop what you're doing, look under your keyboard.
And I apologize, let me stop you there. How do you know that that message would have been from Tyler Robinson?
That's just, so any of the messages in gray would be from Tyler, and messages in blue would be from Lance. It's just the way the iPhone distinguishes the messages. And also Lance in his interview also acknowledges that, who was saying what. And
up at the top, who do we see that this thread is between?
Tyler.
All right, sorry to interrupt you. So read that again, starting from look under the keyboard.
So after that, then Lance responds, he says, what? And then he says, you're joking, right? And then Tyler says, fuck, I tried to delete that.
Scroll down to page 2. And if you can continue reading along.
Okay. And Tyler says, I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. And then Lance replies, you weren't the one who did it, right? And Tyler says, I am, I'm sorry. Lance says, I thought they caught the person. And then Tyler says, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude and interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering.
If we could scroll down to page 3, continue reading.
Lance says, why? And Tyler says, why did I do it? And Lance says, yeah. Tyler says, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything in the news about them finding it. We'll update you shortly, or Charlie, we'll update you by midnight. And then Lance says, all right, stay safe. How long have you been planning this?
Scroll down a little bit, please, Kimberly.
And Tyler replies, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it.
We can scroll down to page 4 and continue reading about halfway down. I'll stop you about halfway down.
This is while they were spot, but I don't want to chance it while they were parked there. If they had found it, I imagine there would be more commotion. Again, I'm sorry for roping you into all of this. You shouldn't have to worry about this. And Lance replies, does anyone else know? Tyler says, not to my knowledge.
All right, I'll stop you there. Let's move to page 5. So this should be page 4, so just scroll down 1, please, Kimberly. And if you could read starting, sorry, Kimberly, scroll a bit more down. If you could read, I don't know, about a 1/3 of the way up that starts with guess.
Okay. Tyler says, guess I'm just sitting in my car watching reels for another hour, hoping this guy fucks off.
And continue.
And Lance says, are you okay still? And Tyler says, yes, check and spot again now. Will
Sorry, now we're on page 6. Continue reading.
We'll update soon. He continues, the squad car was moved further away enough that I should be able to move in. I backed off because I thought I heard footsteps, maybe a foot patrol, but the crickets here are so fucking loud. Gonna see if the road closer to campus is open so I can drive past and check shit out. Probably still closed off though. Getting worried, hard to know for sure, but I'm not finding my rifle. Could be in the wrong spot. Lance says, do you think they found it? And Tyler says, dunno, they haven't published anything if they have. And then Lance says, why did you leave it behind?
Oh, sorry, Kimberly, if you could scroll down.
Originally. Also, does it have a serial number?
We could scroll to page 7, and I'll continue reading. I'll stop you on this page in a little bit.
Okay. So Tyler continues, IDEK, if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me, I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with.
And stop there, please. And then if we could go to the next page, page 8, and if you could start at the top.
Okay, so Lance says, was your change of clothes there or was that also gone? Or did you bring those with you originally? Anyway, you could replace the gun or would he notice? Then Tyler says, only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. I'll bet that canine sniffed it out. Little snitching bastard. Replace it unlikely. I don't fully know what the gun was because it was old as shit and Gramps did some modifying. There was a 4-digit serial on it. God only knows who it's registered to. Hopefully some dead guy who gave it to Grandpa. And he continues, remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke.
And then continue. I'll stop you in a moment.
It says, all right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really fucking sucks.
And let me stop you there. And then if we could go on to the next page, page 9. And do you see the first blue message we see on page 9? Can you start there?
Yes, so Lance says, do you need it for hunting? And Tyler says, no, my dad wanted to use a high caliber for the rifle hunt. Judging from today, I say Gramps' gun does just fine, IDK. I think that was a 2K scope. Lance says, geez. And then Tyler says, OMW home, 3.5 hours. Lance says, drive safe. And then Tyler says, delete this exchange.
And I'll stop you right there. And then, sorry, we're on page 9. If we can scroll to page 15. And then the second grade message on page 15, if you could start there.
Okay, so this is Tyler. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. We hope to keep things sort of quiet here.
And then I'll stop you there.
Okay.
And we can remove the exhibit from the screen. Thank you, Kimberly. We mentioned a Cellbrite extraction of Mr. Twig's phone. Do you know what time that last text was sent?
Yeah, I recall it was just before 8 p.m. on September 11th. It was, I think, 7:42 p.m. is my recollection.
I'm sorry, September 11th?
Yes.
Would September 12th make sense, or you're saying September 11th?
So September 11th was when he turned himself in.
Okay.
It was September 11th, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yep.
All right, I'm going to show just for the witness, State's Exhibit 16.2. Let me know when you see that.
Okay, I see it.
Do you recognize this?
I do, yep.
What is it?
This is just more photos of Lance's phone. And
How
these
do you-
are, these are sorry, go with your question, please.
I'm just asking what it is. So you said it's a photo of Lance's phone. Do you know if that's from the same time period as the exhibit we just looked at?
Yes.
And what is it of?
These are the Discord messages that Lance had talked about.
How do you know that?
So Lance, in the first interview with FBI, shows the phone. The photos are taken by Agent Larson. And then these images are shown to Lance during a second interview, and he confirms that these are those same messages, and this is photos of Lance's phone.
You mentioned an Agent Larson took the photos. Do you know if he's the same agent that took the photos of this exhibit, 16.2?
Yes, same agent.
And you spoke with him to confirm that?
Yes, I did.
Are you aware if Mr. Twiggs is actually part of this Discord thread?
Yes, he is a part of it. He doesn't, in this section, he doesn't reply to it, but he does state in his statement that he was part of that thread.
Does he identify whether Mr. Robinson is part of that thread?
He does.
And when did that happen?
He identifies that in his first interview with the 2 FBI agents, and then he again confirms that in his second interview.
Did Mr. Twiggs say what username on Discord Mr. Robinson used, at least with respect to this thread?
Yes, it's the Tyler/Ikum, IKUM.
And is Exhibit 16.2 a fair and accurate representation of that Discord thread?
Yes, it is.
Did law enforcement send, as part of your investigation, did law enforcement send a subpoena to Discord?
Yes, they did.
Were these messages recovered via that subpoena?
They were.
Did you review that?
Yes, I did.
And in State's Exhibit 16.2 that is before you, when is the first message from Tyler sent?
7:57 p.m.
And it says yesterday. Do you have any knowledge of what day that would have been?
Yes, this would have been September 11th.
So Tyler sends the first message that you're seeing on Exhibit 16.2, September 11th at 7:57 p.m.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified earlier that Mr. Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office approximately at 9 p.m., is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And although you weren't physically present there yet because you were flying down, how do you know that he arrived approximately around 9 p.m.?
Just based on the police reports I reviewed and then go back and look at the video and such.
Judge, the state moves to admit State's Exhibit 16.2 and publish it pursuant to court order.
Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor. We've already lodged all of our objections on all 3 phases.
All right. Noting the objections, standing objections by defense, State's Exhibit 16.2 is admitted into evidence and may be published only in the gallery, not for distribution on electronic media.
Based on the testimonies and evidence presented during the preliminary hearing, the judge will decide whether there is sufficient probable cause for the criminal case to move forward.